Call this meeting to order. Mary, roll please.
Myers, Redlin,
Here.
Howard,
Here.
Showalter.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everybody for joining us tonight, especially you Chiefs fans. Do we have anybody down for any public comment? Okay, thank you. No presentations tonight. We'll go move on to the consent agenda. Item A is Commission Meeting Minutes 1/21/2005. Do we have any additions, corrections, or anything to comment on that? If not, I take a motion to approve the 1/21 meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A and B. Or you just did A?
I just did A, but I probably should have done B together, but we'll just do A on this
Okay.
first one.
I'll do A. Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Redlin, second by Commissioner Howard. Mary, roll.
Redlin,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Myers, Showalter.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to break these up. We'll move on to consent agenda item B, appropriation ordinance 2025-03, 2025-03A, and 2025-P03. Any discussion on those?
I move to approve consent agenda item B.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Howard, second by Commissioner Redlin. Mary, roll please.
Myers, Howard,
Yes.
Redlin,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Sorry about that.
It's all right. No
Move
big
on
deal.
to ordinances and resolution. Ordinance 1792, creating Land Bank Board of Trustees. Turn it over to our city manager.
As pointed out last meeting, we brought this ordinance back for official approval at this meeting, if you so desire. It does have the change regarding the staggering of the Board of Trustee appointments.
Any comments on ordinance 1792? None being heard, I move that we approve ordinance 1792, an ordinance adding Division 9 to Article 9 in the Chapter 1 of the Goodland City Code for purpose of creating the Goodland Land Bank and determining the membership duties and functions of the Board of the Trustees of the Goodland Land Bank.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Howard. Mary, roll.
Howard,
Yes.
Redlin,
Yes.
Myers, Showalter.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to resolution 2025-02, set public hearing date for 302 West 15th as an unfit structure.
Unfortunately, building official Hildebrand's unable to be with us tonight, but was included in your packet as far as the communication form as well as the statement from the building official and the resolution that would set the date of the hearing as will be March 3rd. That's a correction in the resolution. I'm just reading that now. Don't know why that skipped over that. It's adopted the February 3rd, but the date of hearing would be March 3rd. And then it also has the pictures. This property at 302 West 15th has been involved a couple times over previous years, involved with the same type of actions, and it has not come to fruition as yet, but from the statement of the building official, it needs to be taken care of, both the main house and the additional structures on the property.
Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 25-02.
I'll second that motion. I have a motion by Commissioner Redlin, second by me. Mary, roll please.
Redlin,
Yes.
Myers, Howard,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to resolution 2025-03, set public hearing for 1004 Kansas as an unfit structure.
And again, it does state that the hearing will be on February 3rd. It actually should be March 3rd. It's the time of year when it's exactly the same date going forward. This property has, it's just west of City Hall here, has had a number of issues over the last couple of years. And the pictures are included in the packet regarding the main structure on the property.
And the owner's been informed on this one? Because I know they're local owners.
Yes, they have. He's talked with them several times over the last year, since during 2024. The renters did move out and they started cleaning up, removing what's left by the tenants. However, there was the communication had stopped at that time.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-03.
I'll second that motion.
We might make an addition that it's the March 3rd date and not the February 3rd date.
Yeah, with the change date for March 3rd.
I have a motion by Commissioner Redland, second by Commissioner Howard. Mary, roll please.
Howard,
Yes.
Myers, Redland,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Item D, Resolution 25-04, set public hearing date for 1615 Center as an unfit structure.
Again, the date needs to be changed to March 3rd instead of February 3rd. The owner of this structure has passed away. There's been several attempts to contact anyone, really, but they were all returned unable to forward. That's happened for the last over more than a year, attempting to contact the folks involved. And the pictures are included in the packet on that property as well.
And this one is, there was a fire in this house, wasn't there, towards the back at one point?
I think there was, yes.
Because the roof's been cut up and in the back of it. I move to approve resolution 2025-04.
I'll second that motion. With the addition to, I do appreciate all the work that Zach and city crew has done for work on these. I know that I hear from a lot of people who see this as an important task to get these things taken care of, so thank you. Mary, roll please.
Howard,
Yes.
Myers, Redland,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Formal actions. Item A, appoint trustees to the Goodland Land Bank. Mr. City Manager.
This is just a request to make temporary appointments to the Land Bank Board of Trustees in order to take necessary actions until appointments of regular members are sufficient to fill the board. Talked with the commission previously for just a little bit to appoint members of the commission to the Land Bank Board of Trustees until we can find sufficient folks to fill the board.
And again, I would just echo, I think probably all of our sentiments is that we'll fill in until needed, but we'd sure like to have some other people do these, so.
Absolutely.
I would make a motion to appoint Commissioner Myers, Commissioner Howard, Commissioner Redland, and myself to the Goodland Land Bank Board of Trustees as a temporary appointment until regular member appointments can be made.
Second.
Motion by myself, second by Commissioner Redland. Mary, roll please.
Oh, you're going fast.
Sorry.
Myers, Howard,
Yes.
Redland,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. Thank you, Mary. I'll try to slow down a little bit.
You're fine, you're doing just fine. Learn how to type fast.
Discussion items. Request to submit grant to the Sherman County Community Foundation for resurfacing pickleball courts.
Thought there was gonna be the community member here tonight, I didn't call him today. But, Dax Bruce had, contacted city staff about resurfacing and rearranging the pickleball courts at Chambers Park. He talked both with Danny and myself at various times regarding it. Over the past year or more, the pickleball communities had requested an additional court. Danny did quite a bit of work to get that installed in between, well, actually, we started with one court, ended up with two, and then we ended up with three. And now they're too close together, they're causing problems when there's multiple folks playing. We had a vendor come out, the same vendor that resurfaced the tennis courts, did a pretty good job on the tennis courts, I believe. And take a look at the situation and provided us a proposal. That proposal is included in the packet, just as an additional information to the commission. We had talked with the Community Foundation. They did put a couple parameters as far as any grant proposal. And it would actually spruce up the pickleball courts. They did give us an estimate to be, the vendor did say that there was enough room to move the courts a little bit further apart and gave us an estimate for putting that together. So, probably talked too much. I don't know if Danny wanted to say anything regarding this.
We decided to apply for that grant, see what that comes in, and then if we have to do a little bit of work on our side, if that grant comes in a little short, then we may have to do a little work on our side to cover some of that on the labor part.
As far as actually moving the
Yeah,
the posts for the court.
you can see what the charges were on there to move, to drill 4 holes, move the 2 outside courts out. They're 15 foot, and then we go 5 foot, and then 15 foot on the end. They'd like to have it spaced all 10 feet apart.
Well, I certainly appreciate any time that we're able to partner with the Community Foundation to do projects in town. They do a lot of good work. Are you just needing
Just
general
consensus to
direction,
go ahead.
consensus?
Yeah. That it's okay to apply for the grant and that you would accept it if it was forthcoming.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. It sounds like they get used quite a bit, so.
Yep.
Sounds good to us.
Yep.
All right, move on to unfit structures, commercial properties.
This is where I'm gonna miss Zach the most regarding this, although I may need some assistance from Police Chief Earhart. We have a couple commercial properties that are causing some extra effort and some concern from our enforcement perspective. The Oyo Hotel, just south of Walmart, has been in an ownership dispute or situation, or I don't know what exactly you would call it, but the owners are not responsive at this point, and they're not maintaining the hotel, and there is no one currently managing the property in the nearby vicinity. The police department has responded multiple times, and additional damage is being done to the building. It is getting to a point where it's becoming a real issue. Staff went ahead and the power department went ahead and put additional lighting. That just seemed to make it easier to access the property. So instead of preventing access to the property. So, Police Chief Earhart, do you have anything else to say regarding the access to the property?
No, I mean, we've been out there 3 times in the last couple weeks. One time we did find somebody in there that was hiding from us. It was a transient. He was listed as a violent offender, and had multiple charges in his past for assault and battery on law enforcement officers. We did get him out. We responded again last night. Somebody pushed, every time they break a window out, they break out one of the bottom windows on the west side and they go in. So I've been putting what I can find and then shoving dressers up against the windows. And then I put evidence tape on that to the window so we can see if it's broke, then obviously somebody's in there. So again, last night, somebody went in there. I've done a lot of securing the doors on the inside, and they cut a bunch of stuff and tried to make it a little bit easier for them to get back in. So we redid all that, and yeah, it's a nuisance. The top floor, top floor ceiling is falling in because of the water damage. Every time it rains or snows, there's major water damage all throughout the motel. You can't walk anywhere without massive amounts of roaches everywhere. There's the pool's empty. The hot tub's about a quarter full. But every time we go in there, somebody's been in there. And it's not hard to get through some of the doors. But now I've actually put evidence tape over them just to kind of see which door they're actually utilizing. Some of these the locks don't even work. The doors don't shut. I've had to use tie downs to tie them down. The owners responded to me last Monday, or last week sometime. The week before that said they'd be here last week and they didn't come. So they're in a big litigation battle with the motel. They've bought it from Lasta Patel. I'm not sure what his first name is, and then stopped paying him, so he's suing them to get the motel back. So it's in a big litigation battle right now. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I know me and the city manager talked about possibly boarding up some bottom windows, getting the street department or whoever to help us try to board up those bottom windows, at least the bottom, because that's what they're using, is those bottom windows to crawl in. If we can get that at least on the west side, and get the doors covered on the south side and 2 doors on the south, at least we can try to prevent a little bit more. Because we're going in there, even before these last 3 times, we're going in there constantly, and there's always new stuff dragged to the hallway. I mean, somebody's fixing to go in there and steal a whole lot of stuff. And there is a lot of stuff in there, a lot of expensive stuff, TVs, tools, stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's getting to be, not only is it dangerous for officers to have to go through there and try to find somebody, but it's now there's cats in there. Not sure how they got in there, but probably just through broken windows until we caught them. But yeah, it's quite the disaster. So, and it's happening more and more and more and more. There was somebody did break out. Kenton took care of plywood over that west door. Somebody completely shattered out that window, and then they shot BBs through, I don't know, 6 or 7 of the big windows on the west side. Sergeant Luther did solve that case, and that was some juveniles, and they are being charged. But yeah, it's just kind of it's an issue.
So where are we at as far as unfit structure process with that? Are we considering moving forward with that, or?
Well, and the suggestion was going to be that we should start the unfit structure process to let the owners know that this isn't just a phone call from the police department or from code enforcement, that this is actual action that could be taken by the city. And that might see what response is generated from that and how far we need to go with the actual unfit structure process. But it would be a large project, but at this point, we're getting a little frustrated about the inability for any response. Because we've been dealing basically since last summer with this situation where it's basically completely abandoned at this point.
And all the utilities are off.
And when they left all the freezers full. All the rooms have food in the refrigerators. They have items left by people that were living there. So that's where all your roaches are. I mean, there's just hundreds and thousands of roaches.
I think it's certainly something, as we move forward and looking at the budget for next year, we need to start probably trying to prepare for whatever the damage is gonna be there. As I'm guessing, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars to tear that down.
It's gonna be a big project. But that's why, in order to take actions to secure the facility, at least to take some actions besides just temporary emergency actions, which is what we've been doing so far, to try to prevent access. But
Well, it would definitely be my opinion that you have, I'm on board with whatever we need to do to start that process rolling, so.
Yeah, something needs to be done. Just don't know. Yeah, cause I remember when we had the old motel out there tore down, that was a big expense for that motel too. It'd be nice that he would at least come out and hire somebody to board it up.
Well, and he was,
Or
last week,
and that's the one from Denver? The owner's from Denver?
No, they live in Missouri.
But the owner that they're fighting with, I think, is in Denver.
No, he's in Nebraska.
Really?
Yeah, but he's actually not allowed on that property yet because it's in litigation. The actual owners live in Missouri, and they were gonna come down, and I was actually just gonna help them. Board up as many windows as we could, because they said that they would be willing to do whatever, but they didn't show up, so I don't know if they got hung up on something else or whatever. They were receptive to me. They always have been. But they're just in a litigation right now with it, so.
Stick your foot in the bill.
the other property that was gonna be discussed is that there's still a portion of the roadway property as far as the pool, across, that is boarded up. Several windows have been broken out of that as well. They did tear down the garage on one end of the property, but the pool building on the other end of the property is something that's unsightly from Highway 24. The rest of the building is not unsightly from, even though there's various things that could be better. There's nothing visibly a problem with the building, but the pool outbuilding is unsightly, and it has been it just continues to get more that has to be boarded up with that building. So that's also a building that staff would like to start working through the process on. And I don't know if you guys have any thoughts regarding that one as well.
Well, it'd be nice if he'd just fix it, but I know he won't just fix it. Because I've dealt with him before. So, and most of that glass is broke out for weed eater and mower damage. So it'll probably get worse in the spring, so.
I think it would take quite a bit to make it become a pool again,
Right.
so. If it's never gonna be used as a pool, I don't
All right.
know what what it's ever gonna be used for.
Well, certainly, I wouldn't think that, you know, if they get a letter from us, that they're gonna be any more motivated to do anything than they would be if the police chief is calling them and telling them they need to do something, but certainly I'd be in favor on both properties of at least starting the process so they know that we want something done with it.
Sounds good here.
Any other comments?
Is there anything we can do to, like, I don't know, like, can we impose fines for like this type of stuff? Jake, is there anything that we have? Do we have anything up our sleeve for that type of stuff?
So I'm gonna say yes, but again, you're dealing with what I would take a wild stab is the reason why it's in the condition that it's in, because the people don't have the money to pay for it anyway. It's kind of like, can you get blood out of a turnip, right? So there's always, as I've said before, there's two worlds. There's the legal realm. You might be right as rain, legally speaking, but practically speaking, isn't gonna do it. These people, most of the time, they're not motivated by financial ruin. I mean, quite frankly, they bought these things. Let's just be honest, you know. And so, where I think we could go, as I'm kind of casing through this, I don't know so much about the roadway. I gotta think through that one. But as far as dealing with the OYO or the Howard Johnsons or whatever you wanna call it, if we've got that much of a problem going on over there with little to no response-ish from the current owners or lien holders or anybody has interest in that property, there are probably the steps through our code that we could take like emergency possession of it, but that's only to make it safe, right? So that's the level that we do. It's kind of like what we did with the Main Street building, right? That's an option. I have to look through that, but then the next thing would be, yes, then you'd start down your process as far as unfit structures, blight, all that other stuff to do that. Most likely, since it's in, we can say it's in litigation, it's in a foreclosure action. That's what's happening, right? So the prior owners, I believe they did a seller financed through selling it to the current owners, and that's what they're fighting back and forth about, which I'm gonna be honest with you, it's somebody that doesn't have money to pay somebody else, and that person probably is hard up paying for somebody else. So it's just, and surprise, surprise, these people, quite frankly, when they don't have money, guess who else they're not paying? Attorneys. So they're probably, it's probably never gonna go away that way. So that's just something that we could look into, that I can kind of look into from a safety standpoint and emergency possession, because then the city can take constructive possession of it, and that's what gives us the right then to, on our own, go in there and board up the whole thing, but it's only just to secure it, right? That doesn't do away with it, and we can't then fix it, right? We'd have to then start going down our process at that point. Something we'd have to look into. As far as the roadway, that is something that we'll just have to kind of, again, take steps through. I don't know if there is legitimately the safety concern as much as this looks like crap. Right?
Yeah.
Little different situation there. Same thing though, that one's gonna have to be addressed. I think practically speaking though, and this is something we should probably put on there as a big ticket item when Zach's here, we talk about from a budgetary standpoint, maybe for the next go round, we need to consider these things. You're probably gonna have to make a tough decision of picking one of those projects over another, and you're still gonna probably have to do it in phases, just like what we did with, wasn't it Motel 7?
Yeah.
Is that what that was? That took 3 years of the budget, almost completely. So, just to keep that in mind, that's what I kind of foresee as we go forward, but no, I wouldn't anticipate. We're gonna more or less have non-responsive owners or lien holders or anybody, because at the end of the day, this is not about the value of the property, nor does somebody really want to get that thing back, especially, because I guarantee you nobody's paying the property taxes on it either, and it doesn't have insurance and a bunch of other things, right? So I just see we're gonna be forced to go through every step of the process without much help, is how I would anticipate it. So that's kind of where I think we probably will go, but I'd have to look at that for the Howard Johnson's road, whatever you want to call that thing, OIO.
So the owner, or the one out of Nebraska, contacted me this summer when the weeds were real high. He asked, what was going on with it, and he said he was gonna come down and take it over or something. And I didn't know what was going on, so I had conversations with both sides. But according to the lien holder, he's already has, according to him, several investors lined up to redo this motel, and he plans on getting it back and redoing it. That was as of last summer, and apparently that's still his plan if he's litigating it or trying to get it back. And then he also found out there was no insurance on it. He had an insurance agent come out, and I believe he insured it under his insurance. I believe. That's what he told me he was going to do, and I know an insurance agent showed up and looked around the outside. So, but yeah.
I guess to me, obviously, of the two projects, this is the one that is the most glaring and something that we need to deal with. And you know, from everything that I've heard that we've talked about, it's going to be something that's going to be a problem for a very, very long time for us. And I would probably say we need to get started on this sooner rather than later if it's an eyesore that we're going to have on the major exit for the next 3 years. So I think we need to make sure that they know that we mean business and we want it taken care of. And if they're not going to take care of it, then we're going to go through the steps to take care of it.
I agree.
I'll look into it, but I think we've definitely got the grounds to establish a safety concern, obviously, with it being broken into as it is. But my thing is where it's located, right by the interstate and everything like that. It's already being broken into. We don't really know what's going on in there, but you better darn sure know it's. You got drug deals going on in there. Probably invites trafficking and all that other stuff. So I think we've got the grounds to do that. I just have to look into it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks, Jake. 12th Street, we'll move on to discussion item number C, 12th Street and Main Street stoplight maintenance.
And I'll let Dustin describe the steps they've taken to try to correct the situation. We're going to stop right at 12th of May.
So after the problems arose, we contacted Gades, who does all of the controller work and installed all of the lights. They thought it was a loose connection on common wire, and so we checked all of the connections. We did move modules around on the board, so we know it's not the board or a module. All of the connections we could get to, we checked. There's no loose connections. I do know that it was hit when 12th Street was being re-bricked. The contractor hit it with a loader, the line that goes from Jackie's over to the church. And that was put back into the ground, but I don't think it was, the conduit was repaired at that time. So I'm thinking we might have an issue underground. And right now the only way to pull wire into those bases, we're gonna have to pull the poles off the bases, arms off the poles. And if we could pull wire in across there on Main Street from 12th across, if the conduit's not damaged too bad. If it's damaged, then we're gonna have to have somebody come in and bore across Main Street. We'll have to have the sidewalks cut up. So because those elbows go up into those concrete bases that are probably 8 to 10 feet deep anyway. So just we've tried everything. I had the line crew up there a couple of different days on and off, and they've checked every connection in every head, the bases, the arms. So that's where we are right now. If we could feed it Wi-Fi, would be good. So.
I think this is certainly an example of, you know, one of the reasons why at least I voted to remove the last set of stoplights, because I just wasn't prepared to be in a position where we were going to spend big dollars to replace a stoplight when we could do the same type of work with a stop sign. So you know, I guess at some point we need to have a conversation about what that might look like moving forward if that's not something we're gonna be able to fix. Are we there yet? Are we at that point we need to have that conversation?
It sounds like it.
Close.
Yeah. My thing is, I mean, we could probably, you know, I don't think we're gonna be able to get the wire through the conduit. So we're gonna have to tear up some sidewalks and stuff. It just depends how long we wanna do that. And then getting the conduits actually over to the base. How close Dave Herennick could bore into those bases would be a big thing, so.
You know, and we had that study done that says we don't need them anyway, so. We don't have the traffic down Main Street anyway, so.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't be opposed to just doing, whether you decide to do a four-way stop there or you just stop on the side streets and let Main be free all the way through. Something we should probably discuss.
Last time we created a resolution in order to take out the stoplight and have the stoplights at 11th and Main. So staff can create that and we can have that discussion to actually replace it with stop time. What Dustin is describing, they can probably accomplish it. It's just going to take a little bit of extra work, but it's,
Is it necessary?
do we want to do that? That's the real question.
Yeah, the wire up there is your probably cheapest component of that whole intersection, because your board and your box, they're about $30,000. And we have that, but it's outdated. We didn't replace it. When they priced it that way, we just took one away and used the other one for parts. But the wire would be the cheapest thing. I mean, minus labor, which you're paying for anyway. But yeah, I wish I had better news. You know, he said connections. Okay, so we checked all the connections, and it hasn't helped it. So by the time Luke reset it and he got halfway around, they're already back in flash mode. So.
Well, I think it might be time to explore a resolution to
Yep.
change that into change the traffic control device there.
Okay. And if there are going to be any stop signs on Main, one thing, we'll have to talk with Kenton about this as well, and also the police department, but we don't want the stop signs where you can't see it or off to the side. They need to be as close to the lane of traffic as possible, but then that makes them susceptible to getting hit. So it's a combination of those two things. But still want to keep things safe both for the vehicles traveling and also the pedestrians, because there are an awful lot of pedestrians at that corner, as Commissioner Redwin would know from the time he spent working near that location. So, but we will put together a resolution to discuss.
Sounds good.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to reports. Mr. City Manager.
Well, I don't have as much included in the packet this time because it's so early in the month, but I will ask Neil. They did get some more done regarding the water main project, and let you know what's the status of that project as we're going forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We opened up the street at 15th and Walnut because we didn't have enough room behind the curb to put our cross in. So we opened up the street and had Dave bore 80 feet to the south and got that line in. And then we did 180 feet north and got that line in, and then got that radius closed back up and concreted, and the blanket will come off of it Wednesday. So we don't have to have a hole in the street or anything to deal with traffic or anything on that corner. So we decided just to open up that, get the pipe in both directions, and then close it back up. And we actually did the pressure test today on the line between Cherry and Walnut on 16th Street. It passed. So tomorrow we will be flushing that line
and I'll take my bacteriological samples and get them sent into the state. And if they pass, then we can open up that line for good. And then we've got enough pipe left to bore from where we stopped north of 15th to get to 14th Street and set across there. And I've got pipe ordered to finish from 15th to 16th to tie that in. Then we'll be pressure testing both those lines also.
So that's the next little bit to get done with that project. So,
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Neil.
the topside trail lighting project that we, a grant was received by the college in order to, in their electrical department and their carpentry department will be installing lighting along the topside trail over on the college side of Arcade Street in the spring semester here. And then in the fall semester, they'll be installing lighting along the topside trail in Stever Park on both sections, the one up against 16th and then the one down by the swimming pool. But they'll get going this spring, and the lights, I think, will look, it's something the community can be proud of. It'll look pretty good there. So, and they're working with Public Power Department, Dustin Department, and but it'll be mainly the college instructors and the students in those classes installing that whole project along there. Included in your packet was the letter back from Lieutenant Governor Tolan as far as the approval of the Reinvestment Housing Incentive District on the northwest side of Goodland. The developer has been apprised. They do need to do, it's in their court now to start working on the next sections that need to be completed in order for that to go forward. Was advised by the Child Care Coalition they want to put a banner at the future building for child care. They did receive their grant, but they're going to need to do some additional fundraising to actually get to the point to have full funding for the project. So they ended up with around $170,000 to $180,000 grant, but they do need quite a bit more than that, about $100,000 more in order to complete the project that they are looking to do. But they want to put a banner on the site. We did have an MOU with them regarding the lot over by West Elementary. So they're going to put a banner on that lot. And then I just wanted to let you know that a couple items that will be at a future meeting. I don't think it'll quite be the second meeting in February, but probably one of the meetings in March. We've received one proposal regarding the power contract, upcoming renewal of power contract. We're waiting for one additional proposal, and then we're also, staff has been continuing to meet with Waterworth and as far as the staff's preparation for the utility rates review. And we're getting closer on that. So probably in a few meetings, that's what we will be presenting to the commission to start discussion on that. And that's all I have at this point.
Have any questions for our city manager?
Nope.
Appreciate your work on that, and I'm glad that that power contract is going to come up for discussion in a few more meetings. I'd really like to have our new commissioner in place as we move forward to talk about that, so we can all share in those discussions. So that's great. We'll move on to commissioners' reports. I'll start off on my left with Commissioner Redlands.
I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Howard.
Nothing at this time.
And for the mayor's report, I do not have anything. appointment to commission process.
I just included in the packet what it was originally set, a group, that the commission had a consensus on was to have any person willing to fill or wanted to be considered for the appointment for the commissioner seat to make known to come to a meeting up until this meeting on February 3rd. And then the actual vote, when hopefully all four of you be here at the next meeting on February 18th.
Perfect. I think we're ready to put that on the agenda for next meeting. I've had no one else reach out to me that is interested, so I think we'll be ready to vote next meeting.
Okay.
With that, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Howard. I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Adjourned. I had to do that
Did you
without
guys
you.
see that stone?